This is part 3 of Federalist number 12, written by Hamilton. This will be the third paragraph, and we're going to be talking about commerce, how important it is, how it vivifies, it enlivens, it gives life to industry, to manufacturing, to those people who are husbandmen or farmers. It says it benefits everybody. The ability of a country to pay taxes must always be proportioned in a great degree to the quantity of money in circulation and to the celerity with which it circulates. So commerce will bring taxes for the government, and with that money, government can do its job. Okay? And we know that the quantity of that money that will be paid to the government by taxes, by duties, by tariffs, these are all different kinds of taxes. That will help government do its job, and also not to worry that the national treasury, where government funding is located, where all the taxes go so that government does its job, that also national treasury is not empty all the time. So if an emergency arises, if something happens that government needs to have extra funds, they can rely on that. So that's why commerce is very important. Commerce contributing to both these objects must of necessity render the payment of taxes easier and facilitate the requisite supplies to the treasury. So commerce brings in taxes, makes it easy to have money in the treasury, because with commerce everything is in circulation, okay? And every part of the country, every branch of industry, every branch of job creating segment is working. Now look at what he says about some parts of Europe. The hereditary dominions of the Emperor of Germany. Hereditary, it comes from inheritance, from what you get from a part of your family that has passed away. But here, he's again reminding his audience, the readers, the people who are going to go to these ratifying conventions to say yes or no to this Constitution. He's saying we've got a republic. We did away with monarchs and kings. That is not us. And we want to establish a strong republic to be a symbol of freedom to the rest of the world, so that if they want to establish a republic, if they want to do away with kings, they can. So he is telling his readers, look at these monarchs or these princes or these people who get their wealth and power by hereditary means, because their dad was a king, their uncle was a king. They're not republics. Look at their weaknesses, because the Emperor of Germany contained a great extent of fertile, cultivated, populous territory, a large proportion of which is situated in mild and luxuriant climates. Look at the Emperor of Germany. He's got so much land, beautiful, nice, great soil, great weather. It's wonderful, it's fertile, you can grow anything on it. In some parts of this territory are to be found the best gold and silver mines in Europe. Even in parts of his territory, there's plenty of gold mines, silver mines. And yet, from the want of the fostering influence of commerce, that monarch can boast but slender revenues. But because they've done a bad job, awful job of getting commerce going on, he barely has any money in his treasury. He doesn't, his government, his palace does not have any money, so that slender revenue means very thin amount of revenue, thin amount of income, which means very small amount of income. And then he says he has several times been compelled to owe obligations to the pecuniary succor of other nations for the preservation of his essential interests, and is unable, upon the strength of his own resources, to sustain a long or continued war. He's had to beg other nations to give him money because he has had no money in his treasury when wars have broken out, when he's had to send soldiers to places to defend his lands. He has to beg for money. He has to ask for people from outside to get money because he has not learned how to make his territory, which has got great land, great mines and everything, into a commercial territory. So he's saying that we in this union of the 13 states, if we don't establish a great union based on a good constitution, we're not going to be commercial people. If you're not going to be commercial people, we will be just like these petty monarchs or emperors. These monarchs and emperors that talk big, but they can't do anything. We'll be like them. And he says that's the greatest mistake that we can make. Now, just a reminder, I'm doing this project to remind you that we as human beings need to unite. Because all we're doing is using our resources to buy armament, to spy on one another, to build big militaries. Or sometimes if we do commerce now, we're not dealing with people fairly because greed has taken over us. Because $100 million is no longer a good amount of money for one person. They got to make $200 million. Or the shareholders just would want 500% return instead of a reasonable return. So because unfortunately, because of our greed, we are overusing, overconsuming, also buying the lies that the governments tell us to make us enemies with one another from all around the world, and then building armies, spending billions of dollars on bombs and machinery and war that we don't need, and abuse our home, this planet, that the creator of the universe has blessed us with, all the life that is around us. And then the next generations, we have, it's our responsibility to be thinking of them, to be thinking of other animal species that their life is interwoven with us, with our lives. Notice in this paragraph, the last paragraph, the way Hamilton talks about interwoven, circulating, invigorating, vivifying. Those words all talk about circulation of blood, life, energy, rejuvenation, renewing life. And we have to be responsible enough that we don't damage this planet in a way that it'll be dangerous to the next generations of humanity, also other forms of life that are interwoven with us in one way or another. So you have to think about that, and I hope you reflect on it, and we'll see you in the next video.